and welcome to About Last Night, the Sun's home for I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out of Here. I'm Felicity Cross, Deputy TV Editor of The Sun, coming to you from Australia's Gold Coast. And today, I've got my glasses on again, in honour of those gals wearing the glasses in camp. Feels like a real year for eyewear, doesn't it? I'm not sure how they're cleaning them. But anyway, let's dig into last night's action.
You just must not ever make that mistake about the rubbish again. That was really bad.
Now, there's some sort of delicious irony, isn't there, in Nigel Farage being so intent on the rats getting into the camp. Someone far wittier than me could make an excellent gag about this with all of his experience of politicians in Westminster, I'm sure. But certainly, it's a big issue in camp, isn't it? Sort of, hygiene and cleanliness, and certainly they don't want any rats in camp. But my question is, when every single trial that these people face involves critters, involves ants and bugs, why are they that bothered that one rat happened to get into camp? Because Nigel was really bothered. It makes you wonder if cracks are starting to show, if he's starting to struggle, and this is just how it sort of manifested itself. Certainly there was no let-up for him. It was another day of big political conversations. We're ticking off the Nigel bingo. We've had Brexit, we've had Boris, and now we were on to immigration, which is obviously a big topic.
So basically...
But this is what I was saying to you.
Apparently you're anti-immigrants. And
Who told you that?
Oh, the internet.
Well, there we are, then it must be true.
Now, it was Nella that actually brought it up, fresh off the back of having rowed with Fred in camp. Nella's not pulling any punches. She didn't decide to sit back and just have a quiet day. She thought, I'm going in for it again, which I kind of have to admire. She is clearly just being herself in there, which can only be a good thing. More on that later. But just to stick with the immigration discussion, Nigel felt that Nella wasn't listening to him, and he was putting his point across. He's well used, of course, to this argument. His whole political platform was based on his opinions on immigration and what it was doing to the country. As he said to Nella, where do you get these opinions from? What's this information based on? And she said, the internet, which I think is such a good talking point, because the youth of today, but younger people consume their news now via completely different platforms to, the older generation. They are getting everything they know from the internet. And that's why it's really important that there are credible news sources online that people look to for that information. Now, we know that Nigel is really trying to tap into that audience. He has grown that TikTok audience that he has. And that's part of the reason why he says he's come on the show, to reach this new audience. He thinks that the children are the future. And he will have loved that this conversation came up in camp, because it has given him an opportunity to talk about an issue that he obviously knows a lot about and has campaigned about in the past. Now, Nella's point was, I'm one of those immigrants. I'm one of those people. Nigel tried to bat back and say, talk about, for example, the NHS and not getting doctor's appointments. Whereas Nella said, but the NHS is built on immigrants. The doctors and the nurses these days aren't British people. I feel like the audience would have been really divided on this one. People could have seen both sides of the argument. They both handled it brilliantly, I thought. Finishing with kind of, agree to disagree. We've got to live in this camp. And it's so important that ITV is showing these sorts of conversations in camp. Sometimes these programmes, reality TV, can become very kind of show-based. He said, she said, this happened, that happened. But we should never forget that these celebrities, platforms can be for good as well as bad. And they bringing up these kind of topics in a mainstream primetime spot like this can hopefully only be a good thing. Maybe it's prompted some conversations in living rooms across the country, perhaps around the water coolers tomorrow at work. It's something that we should all keep talking about. And if that takes Nigel Farage and Nella Rose, the YouTuber, then great, good stuff.
Nella, you're not listening
Why not?
to a single word I'm saying.
I am listening to you.
No, you're not. You're not. You're dealing with this
I'm
out of a
disagreeing
position.
with you.
Right.
It's okay for us to disagree on this.
We can agree to disagree if you listen.
On to lighter topics. And in deck, again, I don't know if this Australian air is getting to me, but I just think they're getting funnier and funnier. Have they hired someone new on the script team? That's unfair to say. They've always been funny. Today, with the throwback to Nigel's comments yesterday about the 25% airtime if you go out on a trial, Dex says, wow, I only get 15% airtime because I'm small. And 60% airtime for his forehead. I think I'm in that camp as well. It's just so funny. Same again, that kind of like, not trying to go for cheap digs. It's just good old-fashioned fun, isn't it? And for me, they're still the absolute stars of this show. Brilliant stuff. Keep it coming. And I wouldn't be doing my job if we didn't just quickly talk about Marvin's six-pack. A welcome change in that jungle shower from Nigel's bottom. And a quick feminism moment. I don't think we've talked yet about any of the girls in the jungle shower. We're just talking about the boys. So, you know, nice to have a bit of equality in that in that waterfall. It sounds like there's some good stuff coming up this week as well, which is always exciting to look forward to. They've got a big weekend planned with the arrival of Frankie Dettori and Tony Bellew as rival team coaches for the Scarina. Now, this is something completely new we've not seen before on I'm a Celebrity. Sounds like it's going to be a really fun format, as well as lots of trials and challenges. So hopefully leaning into those gags from Ant and Dec. Certainly, that clip of Tony back-to-back with Frankie, brilliant stuff. We actually met Frankie this week before he headed in, and he is up for a fun time as well as a tough time. And I think this format point is going to be perfect for them both. So we'll see. Lots coming up, more to look forward to, and you can hear my thoughts all about it every day on About Last Night, the Sun's home for I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out of Here. I've been Felicity Cross, Deputy TV Editor from The Sun, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.